Hi, my name's Calvin. Some people call me CPAFY, and today I'm doing something I don't love.
Well, Paffy is going to read the Milky Mama Milky Man Minotaur. So enjoy. Go to his channel for the full review. Seriously, start doing that. Man reviews femme fiction. Do it. I'll watch.
And so I shall. The book in question is Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Niscata. I have read, one other sort of smut-ish book in my life, and I wasn't a fan of it. It was too much for me. Well, if you thought that A Court of Thorns and Roses was too much, this is way too much. Probably not for the faint of heart. The story begins, we meet our narrator, Violet. Violet is a penniless, jobless millennial. She talks like a millennial. She's supposed to be 25. She is watching instructional videos for a new job, giving Minotaurs hand jobs. The place she's interviewing for is called Morning Glory Milking Farm. Milking farm? Do you mean dairy farm? No, it's not a dairy farm. It's also not a milking farm, because that's not a thing. It is basically a sperm bank meets a rub and tug parlor. So that should paint a nice, pretty picture for you. And the clients to this rub and tug bank are minotaurs. They have the heads of cattle, the hooves of cattle, and they have sort of humanoid chest areas. The job requires no training, no licensing, nothing like that. Which, that's definitely not how nurses get a job. Is that how massage therapists get a job? I don't think so. It might be how those Asian rub and tug parlors give jobs, but as this book insists, this is not prostitution. Just a job. So, I feel like she's underqualified. Also, another thing, the specific purpose of the sperm bank aspect, the collection aspect of this job, is to make Viagra for human men. Am I the only one who feels like that's sort of a symbolic cucking of humanity? This isn't the only part of the story that sort of feels hostile towards men, but whatever. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Her parents are also meant to be sort of pushy and annoying. They want Violet to move home, as she might need to move home if she doesn't get this job. They want her to move home. They want her to date Carson Tinsley. Well, I'll talk more about Carson Tinsley. Seems like a good guy to me, but the book hates him. I wonder if you can hear my dogs barking. Alright, my dogs were barking like crazy. Believe it or not, I didn't have to shock them to get them to calm down. So we start to learn more about this world. There's a lot of different species. She lives in sort of a zootopia place, a very metropolis, lots of different people, lots of different mythical beings. There's fox people, there's snake people, there's vampires. We'll talk more about vampires. But she doesn't have a ton of experience with other races. Here come the dogs. She pulls up to the milking farm, the rub and tug bank, and it's basically a medical facility disguised as a barn. Totally not prostitution. It's got scrubs, it's got gloves, it's got hairnets and face masks. They also have an alternative type of scrub that is meant to look like a milkmaid dress, although that doesn't really make any sense to me because scrubs are meant to be easy to clean and cheap to manufacture, and milkmaids' dresses are kind of complex, probably hard to clean. Those are for a very special kind of client. We also at some point mention how men are terribly penis obsessed with their own penis, unlike the author of this book, who's more obsessed with the men's balls. I didn't even know balls were in the running, but she's obsessed with balls, talks about them all the time. Yeah, they're weirdos, unlike me. A little bit of stuff about how all women secretly want to be whores. They call her a milking technician. Humans are also supposed to be the most prudish species, which I guess so if we look at Mother Nature, but I guess we have good reason to be, right? We have a lot of parental investment in offspring. Other species don't. So she goes through the cycles. She learns the process. She learns, how to essentially jerk off a minotaur and then get a little tube under there to collect all the semen. It's bull semen. And there's a lot of it. There's 24 ounces per load. Sometimes up to 48, which is way, way, way too much. Like, it's unfeasible. So, she learns about all the different types of clients she'll be encountering. They have different nicknames. There's earners, who are like the Bitcoin bros of the Bull Semen Donation Society. They count every ounce. They make sure they get it all, and they're to make as much money as possible. They've got ones called the Clock Watchers, I think, who are just guys on their lunch break, no biggie here. It's not like I'm going into a rub and tug parlor. This is a medical facility. And then there is one called the Good Little Cows. Now, these guys in the book are portrayed as freaks. Freaks who get off to the idea of being milked. Well, guess what? I don't buy it. I think that's unfair, because this fucking book is about milking bulls, and I'm supposed to believe that the bulls who are enjoying it are freaks? Well, let me tell you, CM Ncosta, it's okay for you to enjoy it, but it's not okay for them to enjoy it. Get out of here. Also, there's a scene where they laugh at a bull who finishes too fast. It adds to the environment the feeling that this book is actively hostile to men. Anyway, eventually, she gets a client who... Actually, it's not eventually. It's like her first day. It might be her... I think it's her first, like, solo client. He comes in and she's into him immediately. He's stoic, but it kind of feels to me like he's talking down to her. They have an intelligent conversation at one point. She notices that this intelligent conversation gets him extra hard, extra erect, and she's like, oh, I guess that he enjoys that I'm not barely legal, that I'm, mature. And I'm just thinking, oh yeah, thank God she's not 19. Thank God. What a gentleman this guy is, right? He's going to the rub and tug parlor. He's like, sure, I hope I don't get a college student. Hope I get a woman who's 25 but speaks like she's 40. And this dude, he's rich. He leaves her a $100 tip, which she thinks is awesome, but to me, it seems like not that much money to pay for your dignity. He's got like 0% body fat. He's got messy hair, but the rest of him's all clean. He's got suits. I have big balls equals more production, but I'm not sure that that's medically true. I don't know if testicle size is necessarily linked to sperm load. Okay, so they get to talking. They hit it off. He recommends a coffee place to her. She goes. She likes it. There she meets a vampire who's her best friend. The vampire's my favorite character in this book. At one point, she mentions, I don't want to have kids for at least a decade. She's canonically 25, so you want to start having kids at 35, 36? I know it's a fantasy world, but come on, Violet, get going. This is around the time she finds out he has a bull ring. The bull ring means someone's married. Well, the reason she finds this out is because she overhears him talking about a woman. She gets super jealous. She asks him what the ring means, and the ring means he's married. But don't worry, he's divorced. You see, don't worry, I might be wearing my wedding ring, but I'm just so heartbroken I can't take it off. Ladies, if you meet a guy who's wearing a wedding ring and he says, don't worry, I'm divorced, he's lying to you. He's lying. Men be lying, and that's number one lie. Don't trust this guy. In the book, he actually is divorced, but in real life, come on, raise your standards. That's a red flag. I got divorced 2 years ago and I still haven't taken my wedding ring off. Red flag. They go on a date. He pays. She finds that so... A man paid on the date? How could this... Can you imagine? This reminds me of when Shuan had said, how can your standards be so high, yet so low? He has to be a 7-foot-tall minotaur, but oh my god, if he pays for that date... They go on 3 dates, and then... I mean, the plot's not that intricate. They go on 3 dates, they have sex, she gets a job. That's pretty much it. Yeah, goddamn, that is the whole story. So, what do I think about the book? Well, I hate it. I hate it because, one, it was so graphic. It left nothing to the imagination. Calling this a novel is like calling a condom pants. It's not all there. As far as I'm concerned, there's basically 2 things that make a compelling story. Those 2 things would be characters and conflict. What are the characters of this book? Violet is so shallow. I get it. Like, come on, women who pick up this at the bookstore, I don't know if they're looking for like a great character. They want a protagonist who is shallow so that they can project themselves onto. Okay, well, I guess that's fine. So what about the male love interest? Is he deep? No! He doesn't have any characterization. Other than big and hunky. Is he kind of stoic? Well, he's kind of stoic, but also he's not. He's reserved in the beginning and then super forthcoming in the end, which I guess is normal. Like, that could be character progression, but it's not really progression. He's stoic in the times that it would be sexy for him to be stoic, and he's overly forward in the times where it would be sexy for him to be overly forward, which again is fine, but I don't know if that makes a compelling character. So what about conflict? Well, what is the conflict of the story? Is it a will they won't they story? No, because they're into each other the first time they meet. He pretty much asks her out almost immediately. They go on 3 dates, they have sex. That's not will they won't they. That's just someone asking someone out and then going on 3 dates and then having sex. That's not a story. Is the conflict she thinks he's married? No, because she gets worried that he might be married. She asks him next time she sees him. He just says, no, I'm divorced. And that's it. That's the story. That was like I don't know, 20 minutes of reading for me. There's no characters, there's no conflict. A third thing that I had an issue with is pacing. This book took me 2.5 hours to read. I suspect that the average woman reading this book is reading it in, let's say, sessions. So yeah, I'm not exactly the average reader. I just kind of blew through all the parts that I suspect most people would be slowing down on. Even so, the pacing is odd. Maybe if I was using it for the intended purpose, I'd see the point of how it's paced. Like, oh, I get 10 sessions out of this book, so it's like 25 minutes of build-up and then 5 minutes of, the hot stuff, the spice. But that's not good for a novel. Oh, and one more thing. The climax of this book is obviously when they actually have sex for the first time. That happens about 60 to 70% of the way through the book. We have like 25% of the book is just falling action. That's so boring. That's terribly paced. There's like a scouring of the Shire in this book, where she has to affirm once again that she's not a prostitute, but if she was, it'd be okay. He doesn't mind that she's jerking off other guys for a living, but he still helps her get another job, if she wants to take it, which she does. It establishes that Carson Tinsley is a loser. It says that again. And it establishes that there are other monsters in this world. Those kinds of monsters, like orcs and mothmen, might appear in books in the future. Ooh. Oh yeah, here's one thing. The book says that in this world, there is a certain kind of woman who gets addicted to novel sexual experiences, and men never do this, which is totally ass backwards. If you've read the book, The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, and specifically if you're someone who should have read the book, The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, but hasn't yet, what you need to know is that sociosexuality is the term that describes the desire for sexual variety in part. This thing, social sexuality, is way higher in men than it is in women. So what is it in this world where men are like, I'm cool with human chicks, and women are like, nah, I gotta try a cow? In my opinion, it paints the average guy as either boring or like lame and loserish and misogynistic. So Carson Tinsley is the average guy. Justice for Carson Tinsley. Yeah, I feel like it's pretty shitty the way she treats Carson Tinsley in this book. I mean, the dude's just trying to do his best. I mean, is it because he's divorced? Can't be, because the main love interest is divorced. Is it because he has to move in with his parents? Can't be, because she might have to move in with her parents. So why is it? I don't know, but it sucks. Justice for Carson. He seems like a nice guy. What was wrong with Carson? Okay, final thing. I think this book is indicative of a serious societal problem. But it's not the problem you think it is. No. This problem is the reading level of this book. Listen, when I first read A Court of Thorns and Roses, before I got to all the spice, I thought it was a YA novel, because it's written at about the level of Harry Potter. Like late middle school, early high school level. This book is written at about the level of, I don't know if you've ever read The Hatchet? Yeah. It's all tell, no show. It's very repetitive. Even like there are like adult words in this book, but they're not complex adult words. Or I mean, there's adult words in this book, but there's no high level vocabulary other than that. And I think that's a problem. I think this book, the fact that people are graduating from this book, which is a fantasy book with somewhat complex world building, to this book, which is shallow smut with no challenge, no intrigue. You don't really have to think about it. And if you do think about it, it ruins the story. I think it's a problem. I feel like if you were going to get into reading, if you get this book and you like it, for the purposes someone might like it for, the books you graduate to shouldn't be easier. They should be more complex. You should graduate to smut with, like, intrigue or something. And I think that's a shame, because I think there's a lot of authors out there who deserve, a lot of attention. And, I gave CM DaCosta the money to purchase this book, because if I was going to review it and if I was going to read it, they deserve it. But quite frankly, I'm not happy that I did. It's easy. AI could have written it. Come on. Challenge yourself a little bit, ladies, is what I'm trying to say. The one good experience I have is that this book made me uncomfortable in the first read, but after reading this, I'm much more forgiving. So I might be picking up the rest of the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I might be giving it another try. Because it feels moderate. It feels tame now. This book, it's probably serviceable for what it's meant for, but what it's meant for is not literary-minded people. It's meant for servicing yourself. So, keep that in mind before you buy. And I don't know. I might be wrong. I'm retarded.